Hey guys and gals, I'm back. Woohoo! Boa noite, or boa tarde, depending on where you are in the world, or bon dia, because some of the crew is still hanging in Asia, so it's morning there. Hello, it's been a minute. Oh my goodness, it's been more than a minute. I had to come into the studio and then figure out like where did I leave my computer? Where did I leave the cables? Is my mic on? So, for those of you who do not know me, I'm Prashan Wright. I am the founder of Black Sick Global and the host of the Black Sick Global podcast, season 7. I owe y'all an episode. We are out of the pre recorded episodes before I went on my vacation. So I think we're going to take a little bit of a hiatus to allow me to finish recording the rest of the season, but it will be a fast follow. I have those interviews lined up. So we will be back in your ear. But in the meantime, there's like 74, 75 episodes featuring the voices and stories of Black expats. And the last episode I dropped was a little peek into my move to Portugal. And I was joined by Zach and Anna, who you may have known if you attended the Move to Portugal virtual summits. They are the founders of Star Abroad. And so they helped me in my transition to Portugal. And so it was a nice opportunity to connect with them and kind of, like I said, pull back the covers about some of the things that was going on in my life at that time, as well as they dropped a serious nugget that I think a lot of people should know. So definitely give that a listen and hear more about my story. So, lots to talk about. Uh, Even though I was away in Asia for a month, I still keep up with the American shenanigans. Ooh, but I was like drinking my coconut coffee, enjoying being in a villa by the ocean, a lot of rest, a lot of massages. But we're going to get all into all of that. So before we get into that and the announcements, because I have to remember, let me say hi to y'all. Hey, 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 let's see who's in the chat. I missed you guys. I have to say, I was like, I thought I was trying to figure out how to go live, but part of the respite was to be true to the new life that I create. Is a life of ease, right? And so I wanted to be completely off. So who was first in the chat? Really for the world. Hey, hey, hey. How are you, boy noit? Boy noit. Hey, Pinky, how are you? Harlem Minded in the house. K Renee. Hey, Action BJ. And oh, look, Thomasina's in the house. Thomasina's a channel member. Woo-hoo-hoo. You can become a channel member too. Just click the join button. Hey, Lori, how are you? Let's see if my scroll is actually going to work. I have not used this computer in over a month. Cheryl, hey. Jackie, how are you? Hey, Marcus. Yes, it was fantastic. I'm well rested, super happy that I did it. It was a long ways. I think at one point I looked at my phone because I was trying to get a hold of my mom and like adjust for time zones. And it was like she was 9,000 miles, over 9,000 miles away. And I was just like, ooh, I went far, far. Hey, Teresa, how are you? Yeah, I can imagine. Hey, Yolanda, locating cozy. Hey, hey, girl. Hey, Kim. Hey, Michelle. Jametta. Hello, hello. It's good to see all of you. Susan and Venus. Oh my goodness. I tried. Like I said, I tried and then I didn't. Because it would have meant just weird hours. And so, yeah, that wasn't gonna work. And I'll explain why. Um, I know what you mean. I know what you mean, girl. Woo. I know what you mean. Yeah, I was, paying attention to some of the shenanigans and foolishness that was going on, and even the stuff that has happened late. Like literally, uh, Mayor Bauer of DC is removing the Black Lives Matter mural that was, all the way to 1600 Pennsylvania. Apparently, it's repeat occupant isn't fond of the artwork, and so to keep herself from being a target, I guess she's taking it down. There's also been a push by Elon Muskrat and attorney Ben Shapiro to lobby for Derek Chauvin to be released from custody. If you remember Derek Chauvin, unalived George Floyd, he went through the process, was found guilty, and yeah, they want Orange Man to give him a pardon. Now, you and I both know how we would react to that, but we also know that in this time, if they do that, they're also going to push qualified immunity, which means the police will have no problem unaliving everyone who's protesting. So I want to see you on the other side of the foolishness. So just giving you a heads up, life is good on the other side, right? So yes, yeah. Like I said, I still pay attention because I have our passport members, right? So even though I was away from here and the podcast is pre-recorded, I was still, posting information in our Black to Global Passport group. We have our monthly accountability group that I lead happening this Saturday. So if you have been on the fence, you want to get support, get your plan together, join. There's quite a bit of members that are signed up for a Saturday session. Join us in Black to Global Passport. I'm also putting the final touches for our scouting cohort. They'll be here in a few days, a few weeks, right? Today's the 7th, 6th. Today's the 6th. They will be here on the 21st and scouting with me for 10 days. So I'm excited. So putting the finishing touches on everything for them. We will be busy. And what else did I need to share? Oh, I'm hosting a meetup. Yes. So October 24th, I am hosting a meetup in Lisbon, Portugal, to welcome our friends again from Exodus Summit. And so Stephanie and Rashida will be in town, and this will be a co-ed event because it's a Black Sit Global Exodus Summit event. So come on by. I'll be posting that information in Black to Global Passport. So if you're a Passport member, if you are a YouTube channel member, you will get the information and location. If you're an Exodus Summit member, you can get the information regarding the meetup there, but it will not be broadcast beyond that because I have to account for reservations at the place. Yay! Awesome. Action BJ said he was going to be there. Yes. Let's see. Yeah, I know. Exactly. That's why I was like, I will just give a little glance about that, but I really want to talk about my month-long trip. So I'm open to also taking questions. So I have a lot to share. So yes, I did a month away. That's my longest trip ever. I think the only other trip that I was long was New Zealand. That was just about 3 weeks. But since I've moved abroad, this is the first one. And so, of course, logistics, right? The podcast is always like half recorded and, didn't have time to do the other half. And one of the reasons why I wanted to do this trip was, as you know, I was taking Portuguese lessons. And so that was 4 days a week, 2.5 hours, and that was 10 hours a week for 5 months. And it was pretty intense. And if you remember that final, whew, baby, I was not sure if all of that effort was for nothing. But luckily I passed. Woo, woo. And so I got my certificate. I have to actually pick up the official one in April, but I passed. Got a higher score than I thought because I was just thinking, oh, there was one section that I think I got two right by luck. But it was good. And so I wanted to reward myself for that commitment because it was a lot to go through Portuguese class. And then also because of the time commitment every day, I don't normally leave my house every day. And so it was just a lot. And so I was like, you know what, when that's done, I need to do some rest. And so, fortunately enough, I had seen the post about the Exodus Summit meetup in Vietnam. And I was like, well, if I'm going all the way over there, I might as well do some Thailand too. So we're going to get into it. We're going to get into it. What can I say about the trip? From here, from Europe, it wasn't as long as I've journeyed to Southeast Asia in the past. So I did Bali in 2022. And so that was Newark to direct to Singapore, which was 18 hours, and then 2.5 hours to Denpasar in Indonesia. So because I live in Lisbon, I flew Emirates, and it was the first leg was about 6.5 hours to Dubai, and then or maybe 7, and then the other one was 6.5 to Bangkok. And of course, while I was sitting there, I was like, one night in Bangkok. But Bangkok was interesting. It was a lot going on. I didn't realize that they drive on the opposite side of the road. So that was a lot to take in. That airport is gigantic. And so I was very overwhelmed when I first got there, and they have a ton of traffic. Like I thought Costa Rica was bad, but this was interesting. I wasn't prepared for the air quality. The air quality is not so great in Bangkok because there are a lot of cars, motorbikes, just a lot going on. And so I wasn't prepared for that, the air quality to be less than what it should be. And it wasn't something that was just top of mind, just because normally when I travel, that's like one of the last things I think about, as fortunately I don't have to deal with asthma or any other respiratory issues. But it was beautiful. So the first 2.5, 3 days, I was on the river, which was nice because I got to see all the river cruises go by. Got to go to Icon Siam, the mall, which was amazing, amazing. I do have a couple pictures of things, but I had to be like choiceful and deliberate with what I could get uploaded here. So maybe I'll put a video together that kind of shows some of the highlights, but oh my gosh, it was insane. Like that is my favorite mall. And I'm not a mall person, but oh my gosh, it was amazing. And then I moved over to the JW Marriott and did the Hidden Bangkok tour, which was really cool. And so that's a picture of us getting ready to go on the Hidden Bangkok tour. So myself and some of the Exodus Summit ladies, you see Rashida there, and then Janice. And it was so funny that Janice and I, and there's Jasmine and Deandra. Yes, all the lovely, beautiful ladies there. It was great because earlier that day, or maybe a couple days before, Janice and I connected, and she lives in Bangkok, and so does Jasmine. And so Janice and I met for brunch, and oddly enough, we were living a few miles apart from each other in New Jersey and didn't know each other. And like so much so, like I would go to, she lived in North Jersey as well as I, but I would pass through because my doctor was there. I was always getting gas in her town. So I was like, oh my gosh, but we met in Bangkok. How wonderful was that? It was great. Yes, the JW. Oh my gosh. I was like, what? Baby. And they just, I can't say enough about the people of Thailand. Oh my gosh. Not to mention, obviously the food is amazing, but I love all the bowing and the rituals. And I could not pick up a lot of the language because they have characters. So it's not like our traditional alphabet. So the only thing that I was able to pick up was kapunka, which would be thank you. And I think Sawadee is hi. I'm pretty sure. But that was about as much as I could get. But oh man, I was definitely like, if there's, y'all know that Portugal may not be my forever home. And I'm already thinking about my next home. And I've always said, like, my next region most likely would be Southeast Asia. But not knowing where in Southeast Asia. But baby, Thailand, you at the tippity top of that list. What? Oh my gosh. There was this really cute hole in the wall restaurant that was near where I was on the river originally. And I didn't have cash that night. And so I was like, oh, I had just landed. And I was like, I just need food. And that was the only one that would take cards. And so I had this green tofu and rice and something else and a drink. And it came to $6. I was like, oh. And I was stuffed. I was like, I had a whole meal, a whole dinner for $6. I had that place like 2 days in a row because I think the third day we were on the Hidden Bangkok tour, which was amazing. We went all around Bangkok to all of these like hidden gem places that are off the beaten path, no tourists, and really got to interact with the locals, and that was really nice. Ate and saw a lot of different street food, so different insects, and I was like, oh. And then there's this like smelly fruit called durian, which the hotels will say like no smoking, no marijuana. And the reason for that is marijuana is decriminalized in Thailand. And so, excuse me, because it's decriminalized, there are cannabis stores everywhere. Like everywhere. Dispensaries, like 2, 3 on the street. Like there was one by the JW. I'll even talk about something else that was over by the JW, but I'll get to that in a second. And then it has a picture of this fruit, the durian, and no durian because it's a smelly fruit and it will stink up some stuff. So I tried it because I'm one that'll try almost anything once. And it didn't, it tasted like what I would imagine wet sock would taste like, but fermented wet sock. That I was not. Some people were fans of it. My taste buds were not. They said no. They said no. So yeah, that was nice. Michelle saying you can't stand Dory. I couldn't either. I couldn't get down. I couldn't get down. Yes, definitely Thailand is in the running. Before that, I would say it was Indonesia, but I also feel like when I get to that stage, I'll probably split time because the other thing to keep in mind is like Thailand and Indonesia, they have, rainy seasons and burning seasons. And so I think for somebody like me, that would just mean that I would need to migrate to a different part of the world during that time. So and also I'm forecasting like Bailey would be back with my daughter, so I'd be able to bop around a little bit more freely. So I think that's the plan. But when is a different story. but it does, like, it definitely met up with my wallet because I was like, oh, baby. Let's see. And then after that, the next day, I went to, where did I go? Chiang Mai. Yes, Chiang Mai. Chiang Mai. And oh my gosh. The first place I stayed at was a new hotel. I would say maybe a year old. It was beautiful. And because I didn't, I stayed an extra day because my main ticket was to and from Thailand. Everything else I did, I was just buying, hotels and tickets on the fly once I was in the region because it was just more economical. So like the day before, I'd be like, oh shit, I gotta buy a ticket to fly to wherever I gotta go next. And so I didn't have a room for one of the days. So I found this hotel. It was beautiful. Loved it. The staff was really great. I would 100% stay there again. And then I went to the other hotel, which was equally nice. And I had a suite. It was a beautiful pool. The food was amazing. Chiang Mai. Oh my gosh. Chiang Mai. I was like, okay, I love Thailand. Bangkok serves its purpose, but Chiang Mai, ooh, that's a vibe. Oh my gosh, I loved it. And even though it's kind of set up more so for tourists, I still had a great time. I'm realizing one of the pictures that I had didn't pop up. But so when I got there that day, there was the flower festival. That was the last day of the flower festival. So there were these big like displays of these beautiful flowers, and they would have, and I love Buddhas. I have Buddhas all over my home, and I've always had Buddhas around my home, all my adult life. And so they had these like beautiful Buddhas and just different things, and just the flowers, and you smell it in the air. Everybody was out in the streets. The police had everything blocked off. You could just walk around. And then I had this lovely dinner, and that was really nice. And then the rest of the time that I was there, literally every other day, I was at the spa. And not just like at the spa, because I did have a massage. Oh, yeah, I forgot. I had a massage in Bangkok, a Thai massage in Bangkok. I need to tell y'all that before I tell you about the one in Chiang Mai. So I had never had a Thai massage. I had gotten a gift certificate for my birthday for a Thai massage, but I hadn't used it yet. And then before my trip, I was like, oh, I had a floating spa gift certificate, and I did that. That was great. And this was in Lisbon. So I was like, oh, let me hold off on using the Thai one until I go to Thailand, and then I'll use it when I get back. I did not know that a Thai massage was like code word for Fight Club. And I was like, what? How did the little lady that come in the room turn into the Hulk? I was like, yo, this chick is whooping my ass. I was like, oh my God. First, you wear clothes, which I didn't. I was like, when they were like, oh, you have to put this on. I'm like, I have to put clothes on? I didn't get it. So it's like this oversized, like loose fitting clothes that you put on. And then you're on like, it's almost like a tatami mat when you lay down. And, and she was like, I was like, oh shit. And so I'm like, how is this supposed to be relaxing? It's like she would take my muscles, like, oh, your muscle is here, but it needs to be over here. Let me just move this. And I was just like, ow. And then I was like, am I going to be paralyzed? Because this woman is wailing. And then they kind of like pick you up, which is why you need to have the clothes, because I'm like, how did you grow in strength? How, Sway? It was crazy. I was so sore. So that now leads me to when I go to Chiang Mai. So it had been a couple days since the initial one, but I was like, okay. Part of what I wanted to do while I was away was have massages. And they're so affordable. So I went to this beautiful spa, like, oh my gosh, it's my top five now. That was just maybe 2 or 3 blocks, maybe from the hotel, and that I was staying at. And I booked a session every other day, and not just any session, baby. 3 hour spa treatments every other day. I was like, I wake up, eat breakfast. Oop, time to go to the spa. Work me, baby. And had a Thai massage, which was much gentler than the other lady. But Thai massage, foot massage, and neck and shoulder, because that's where most of my tension was. And then he did this like scalp thing and all up in here. It was, ooh. And then the last day, which I didn't even remember, it was Valentine's Day when I had pre-booked. And I'm so glad I did because they were sold out. So I didn't realize it was Valentine's Day till I came back from breakfast, and the hotel had this like card, and it was a card and chocolates on my bed, and this nice little display with like rose petals and stuff. And I was like, oh shit, it's Valentine's Day. And then I was like, well, gotta go to the spa. Went to the spa, and that was the day that I had the like ultra deluxe one, which was a herbal bath. And it was like, I have to show you guys the video, but I couldn't pull that one up. It was so indulgent. They had champagne and fruit on a tray on the bed in the bath, and then it was like teas and oranges and lemons all sliced in the water. And baby, I was like, I am the love of my life. So when I walked in that room and I saw all what was waiting for me, I said, hey, baby. I said, Krishan, today me is thinking past me for investing in future me, because that's all it was. It was all of those struggles and strifes and staying focused, having horse blinders, of course, making mistakes along the way, but staying steadfast in the resolve, right? Investing, doing what I need to do, because now this is the payoff, right? Woo, baby. And so after I got out the bathtub, then it was the massage, and then the foot massage with the, so that was amazing. Amazing. And of course, like I'm eating out every day, great food. And then I did that's right, the day before I had done a 15-hour tour, and I did a trip to Chiang Rai. And so I'll show you some pictures from Chiang Rai. So this, like I said, I love Buddhas. A lot of my pictures from Chiang Mai and Chiang Rai are of Buddhas, because I love me some Buddhas. But this is the Buddha that is in the Blue Temple. So the tour that I did was of the White Temple. That picture didn't come through. The Blue Temple, and then the black one isn't a temple. I think it's considered a castle or museum, but this was like amazing. And you couldn't take pictures in the White Temple. You could only take pictures outside of it. So I have lots of pictures outside of the temple, but you couldn't. But the things to like know is, when you go to these temples, you always have to observe. And I knew that part. So I forgot it with me, but I bought a shawl to cover because of what I was wearing. I had to cover my arms and my back. And oftentimes you have to take your shoes off in order to go into a temple, because it's a place of worship. What else do you need to know? Usually, like I know, at least in Indonesia, I think I saw a sign in Thailand in one of the temples, but like a woman can't be on her period. There's just certain things that you just have to observe when you go there. But man, the architecture, you just are taking everything in, like all the senses. So you have like the incense is burning, this beautiful, like statue, and the photo does it no justice because it literally, you walk in and it's a gigantic Buddha. I took that picture, aiming up because it was gigantic. Um, but it was great. Um, and and I went to the Black Temple and saw, I think, some roosters and things like that roaming around. I think I was a little overheated by then. Then what else was cool was I went to um, a tour of the Golden Triangle. So that was where on one side is Thailand. In front of me was Myanmar, and to my right was Lagos. So three countries converge. That's why they call it the Golden Triangle. Um, and also, that was like a point of trade for opium. So just a lot of history there. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm on this boat at this point. And had a Lagos beer, and I think, yeah, okay, I'm still with you. A Lagos beer. And I'm like, okay, I'm drinking a beer from Lagos. I'm sitting in international water, I guess at that point. And I'm like surrounded by three countries. Like I could just, what? It was crazy. That was so cool. And I really enjoyed that. So I took some pictures there. And then I think I headed to Vietnam, I think a couple days later, right? I headed to Vietnam. 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 Vietnam taught me so much. So much. So, one of the things that I was really excited about for Vietnam was a chance to reconnect with one of our guests from the Black Sick Global podcast, who is also a Passport member, who I coached on her move to Vietnam. So I made a deliberate stop for 2.5 days in Ho Chi Minh City to see Grace. And so it was amazing. Got to eat some wonderful food. I will say that the hotels in District 1 were expensive. But what I learned was, so it was a 5-star. All the hotels I stayed at were 5-star, but um, my level of 5-star and theirs was different, and in the boutique hotel, so not the brick and the chains. And so I was like, oh, okay. So a lot of traditional furnishings, a lot of wood. So that was interesting. But I sat on my first heated toilet because the hotel had heated toilets in every room, and I was like, what the? But it was like a whole computer panel. It was like, you can spray, self-clean, massage. I was like, what the heck? So that was really interesting. But they had high tea. So we did high tea. And one of the things that I learned in Vietnam is that crossing the street is a life skill. So I will show you a video of what I mean. So here it goes. It's like Frogger.
Yeah, after this white one.
Yeah. It was crazy. It was crazy. It was crazy. I don't know why I'm not full here. Okay. It was crazy. So, as you probably noticed, there were no stop signs and no stoplights, and we were in a crosswalk. They don't stop. And that was mild. So I wanted to go on the other side of the river. And so I had tried doing that earlier in the day. But yeah, that's right. I forgot that part of the story. But I realized the sandals I had on, uh, they were coming apart. So as I was walking, I didn't notice it at the time. So I was walking through the park, and they will hustle. And the guy's like, yo, your shoe's falling apart. And so he literally fixed my shoe on this, had glue, put a new heel, did the whole thing. I was like, clean them like I just bought them. I was like, what? And then there's like a whole like crew. So of course, after that, there was the shakedown. But I was like, you know what? My country did some really bad things to your country. It's okay. I'm okay with paying this, right? Okay. So then I was like, let me just chill in a hotel because I want to go to the river, but I'm supposed to see Grace. And I need her to teach me how to do this because I'm afraid I will be hit. Because it literally was like a real life game of Frogger. I was like, what the heck is this? Why are there no stoplights? And then it's like, not in that video, but they come from different directions. And so you can be driving and then there's a car coming right at you, but then they have to turn. And I'm like, it's like organized chaos. So I had to get footage because I was like, nobody's going to like understand what I mean. And then they also drive on the sidewalk. So you're not safe. I don't know how anybody old or disabled, differently abled, you need to have all of the senses in order to navigate Vietnam. And I wouldn't even say just Ho Chi Minh City. Because it was the same when I went to Hoi An. It wasn't as bad in Da Nang, but baby. So here's them driving on the sidewalk. I thought I was safe. I was like, wait, what? What? I can't even. So the funny part about this video is I knew they were getting ready to start driving. So I had the phone. And then I put the phone away after I finished getting a couple seconds. Had I moved just a smidgen to my left, I'd have been hit because as soon as I put my thing in my pocket, dude came by, zoom. I'm like, oh my goodness. On the sidewalk. So they have some of the sidewalks have these barriers to prevent the motorbikes from going through. But the motorbikes serve their purpose because without the motorbikes, it takes longer for buses and cars and trucks and everything to go through. But for food, for transportation, and all that stuff, it is something. I did not see them driving on the sidewalk in Bangkok. They were driving on the sidewalk in Vietnam. I did not see it in Bangkok. No, 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 no. But I went to the Grace and I did the hop on, hop off tour. We had a lovely dinner. And so it was really great to see her. She's been in Vietnam for almost 2.5 years. She moved sight unseen. And listen to her story in season 5 of the Black Sick Global podcast. And what else did I do when I was in Ho Chi Minh City? Oh, I went to the War Remnants Museum. After I did that, I was like worn out. So the War Remnants Museum is a museum that tells what happened during the 20-year war between France and U.S. and Vietnamese from their perspective, right? And so you're seeing information from the families that were impacted, who's lost loved ones, and it's not a whitewashed version of events which you would see at the War Museum in DC. So they had displays. It was a lot. It was heavy, So you see, images from war correspondents who lost their lives, internationally. So Vietnamese, French, US, all of them. So you're seeing you're reading the placard and it was like, this was the last roll of film of, someone else. And that was pretty heavy. Then the Agent Orange, oof, that was really heavy. So 4 generations now that have had defects as a result of Agent Orange. I actually met a man when I was leaving the museum who was a guard, and he had, part of his limbs were missing in his eye. It was really heavy. And then they had the fetuses in the jars, and it was a lot. It's raw. It's raw. And also the U.S. war criminals, that one of them, which was a sitting member of Congress, And it was interesting because when I read what he had done, and then I was like, well, let me read his Wikipedia page and completely whitewash what happened. Um, and so that is why like I like going to museums and things like that when I'm traveling, because especially in this chapter of my life and in this stage of my life, I really want to challenge what I've been taught or made to believe about certain things and form my own opinions. And so it was really interesting. And so after that, like emotionally, I was spent, because you're just seeing shrapnel and, just like I said, raw and unfiltered, but wanted to understand, the real life impact. And so after that, like I said, I was spent. And I think the next day was when I went to Hoi An, and we did the Exodus Summit meetup. We had a wonderful dinner. I think it was like 50 people showed up. Libria Jones, if y'all know Libria, right? She's a remote work queen. So she was there. She was in town. And then we had a lovely dinner at the Four Seasons, a few of us. And I got to see Sejal from Nomadness Travel Tribe. Sejal and I met in New Jersey about 3 years ago, maybe four, when I was asked to be a speaker at Nomadness Fest. And so Sejal was my point person. And then she was sitting there at the Four Seasons, and we had a lovely dinner. That hotel was amazing. The food had lobster thermidor. Uh, staff was incredible. Rashida was able to snag us a nice pen from the Four Seasons because the waiters were working, but we were right on the beach. It was lovely. And then what do you do in Hoi An? Well, Hoi An has 700. Did not know this. 700 tailors. Tailors. So your girl got some clothes made and some shoes. So I had custom clothes made, 8 pieces and a pair of sandals. And yeah, it was lovely. So during my stay, most of the time I was relaxing because they would come and they would fit, measure you, and then they say, "Oh, come back the next day." And like your outfit is so I was just pulling up pictures from Pinterest and stuff like that. And then they would like whip it up, come in, tighten a little here, let go loose there, a little there. I was like, what? So because they're so fast and they know, because they're like, when you leaving? You get addicted. You're like, oh, well, I mean, I guess I could get another pair of shorts, right? Or, oh, wasn't thinking about getting a jumpsuit, but I mean, I got 3 more days. You can whip up a jumpsuit. Then I came home with 8 pieces, couple dresses, couple shorts, tops, and sandals. And then like before I left, I had to get all of my booty. So that was really fun. And then I hightailed it back to Bangkok for my last 2 days. Went back to the JW because it was just so amazing. And they were so sweet. They gave me like this like perfume spray and this you probably can't see it. This cute here. Let me show you. Let's see. They gave me, let's see, this. Look, it's an elephant. Yeah. So I was like, oh, it's so cool. And I rode a motorbike for the first time because I had to go and get another 3-hour spa treatment. So went to a different spa and went with Jasmine, who you saw in that earlier photo. And we went to the Korean spa. So I had never been to a Korean spa before. Because I'm trying to think, the one I went to in Jersey, I don't think that was a Korean spa. I'm pretty sure it wasn't. And so I had a what do they call it? A Korean sitting bath, which is also known as vaginal steaming. Oh my Jesus. What? I was like, oh, right. This seems interesting. You sit on this wooden thing and it has a cloth and a hole, and then you're supposed to like cook, but it's supposed to, steam everything, help your butt and your flora, I guess, like just, clear everything. But that thing, and because they put herbs in the water and then the steam like goes up. Man, my inner thighs were on fire. I was like, so I'm wearing this robe thing and I'm trying to wrap it around my legs to give me some cushion from the heat. Cause I'm like, I'm about to burn my hoo-ha. But I did it. I sat on there. And then after that, I went and showered and then got into a Korean bath. So a hot bath. So first was the sitting, they call the other one sitting bath, and then there's a formal Korean name, but I don't know how to say that one. But colloquially, it's you might have seen like vaginal steaming and stuff. So that was that. Then I went into the hot bath, which was a wheel, like an oak barrel, a big oak barrel. And I got in there and it was super hot. So I had to add some water to not scald myself. But you sit in that and like the water came up to my neck. But oh my gosh, all the tension, because it was a lot of tension from the time in Vietnam. Because when you're in, especially Hoi An, like everybody's trying to get your attention. And then there's the horn that beeps all the time, because they just drive in all different directions. We had done biking, a cocktail tour. Like there was just a lot. And then going back and forth shopping. I was worn out. So I had gotten no massages in Vietnam. And after having 5 treatments in Thailand, my body was like, we need something else before you get on that flight to go back home. So I did. And so after I sat in the tub and she was like, oh, it's time to get out. So I'm used to, having the the table with like the cutout for your face and all stuff. So this was like this leather thing. And I'm like, okay, I'm not really understanding what we're supposed to do. She's not speaking English. I don't know any way of communicating properly. And I didn't have my phone at that point. So that was where the Korean scrub came in. So I lay down and I'm still like not able to dry off because they need your skin to be kind of supple and wet. Baby, she was like, your feet, the legs, right? Up under the boob, your neck, da da da. Then flip you over, back, up under your back, butt cheeks. Da, 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 da. I'm like, what? Craziness. Two hands, right? Like all the elbows, like everything. And I'm like, so this goes on for maybe half an hour or so. And I got up, and so there's all this debris, which is like dead skin. And then you rinse that off, and then the massage. And that was just splendid. So when I came out, oh, and I had a facial too. That's right. And I had a facial. So by the time I came out, the skin was glistening and I couldn't believe it. I don't even remember the last time I had a facial. I think it's been years. I do remember the last time I had a massage because I had, well, obviously treatments in Thailand, but before that I had I had done the floating spa before I left Portugal. So I was like, oh, I was overdue for that. But I felt like a new woman. Yes. And so between that and getting on that motorbike, which, kudos to the driver who's the image for the thumbnail, because he was told that that was my first trip and to drive slow, which he did. But I was terrified. And so I didn't think I was going to leave the region with getting on a motorbike. And then Jasmine was like, you could do it, girl. And I had to send it to Janice because Janice was trying to get me to do it when I met her. And I was like, no, I am deathly afraid. But I did it. I did it. The only thing I would have done differently is put on a helmet. But yeah, it's great. So for short distances, I could see myself doing that again. Because I was only on it like 10 minutes from where we were, where we had breakfast. Um, the food was amazing. Oh my gosh. I ate so much tofu. I ate a lot of French toast. Definitely came back with some extra pounds. So I need to actively work to shed them because I got on the scale. I don't own a scale. And so I hadn't been on a scale in years. And then I was like, oh, this scale is broken. And then I went to another hotel and I was like, oh, the scale is broken. Apparently, all the scales in this country are broken because that's not my number. I don't know whose number that is. Baby, that was my number. I went to the doctor today about my ears, and she was like, you got to lose some weight. And I was like, no, girl. I already hit the gym. Day after I got back, I hit the gym. I did hit the gym when I was away too, but only once. And I did not do enough walking. So that's what I want to talk to you guys about. So, where I chose to live in Europe, because I know like a lot of the cities are walkable, that's really important to me. It's not uncommon for me to put up, 10,000 or more steps in a day. Unfortunately, because of the cities that I was traveling in, um, it was it required me to be car dependent because there's no sidewalks. Sometimes there's, livestock, which I didn't show you the video of me riding a bike through the rice paddies, and there was an oxen or bull and a little baby, and the little baby didn't have anything around it, but the mama did. Now Stephanie goes by and nothing happened to her, so I'm next, and that little baby looked like looked like that baby was gonna get me. So, needless to say, it wasn't as much walking because again, everything is a hustle. And so it's like, your barrage of horns honking, people trying to get your attention, to buy something, to look at what they're selling or whatever. And it was just sensory overload. So it's way less physical activity than I was used to, which also contributed to it. But new things that I love: coconut coffee, coconut ice cream. And for those of you who know me, I am not a coconut fan, but I have a newfound appreciation for coconut because normally the only thing I would like would be coconut shrimp, and I really don't eat a lot of shrimp. But oh my gosh, the coconut ice cream. Mm-mm-mm. So then when I went back to the JW for the last 2 nights, I just ordered room service. I was like, what the heck? So I had some really wonderful treats there, which was amazing because I ordered room service 2 meals or three, and it was only 55. That was my bill for the entire stay of room service. I was like, man, I lived like a queen. So yeah, okay. So I'm gonna go to your questions because that was the trip. Oh no, I forgot. There was one other thing. So I flew out of Bangkok, and on the flight back, one of the flights, the first leg, I was on a double-decker flight in Emirates. Because I've flown Emirates before my first trip to New Zealand, so 2017. And when I was, doing my configuration, I was like, what is this? It's a lower level. And I remember that first trip, the plane I was on was a double decker because I remember seeing a staircase and they had these ropes. And I was like, what? What is that? So this time I'm like, baby, I'm going up top. So I was up top, which I didn't have to go up a flight of stairs. The way they board you, you just go into your zone. But it was cool. So I was in the twin, and I like to be in the aisle for a long haul. But it was so cool. The bathrooms are huge when you're on a double decker. It's not that little closet where you're like trying to, do your business and wash your hand at the same time. Mm-mm. This was like a full size bathroom. I was like, okay, Emirates. I also like flying Emirates in any international carrier because you get real utensils instead of like the bamboo or plastic thing or paper thing that they do. Mm-mm. You're getting real knives, real forks. Um, Same on tap when I flew first class on my freedom flight. But anyway, that was lovely. The flight attendants were wonderful. And remember my one flight attendant, she was really nice. She came over, she said, ma'am, you are beautiful. And I had like at least four sisters was on that flight. I was like, this the flight. Y'all gonna get me. That was the one from Bangkok to Dubai. And then I had a quick change and then barely, because that airport is so big, barely made the next flight. But then made it home and got to see my little fur baby. And then that was it. Okay, now I can go to the questions. I wasn't starring them as I was talking because I didn't want to lose my train of thought. So some of them I will have answered in my chat. Um, but yeah, I would say if you are interested in going to Southeast Asia, do yourself a favor. Do it. Book the ticket because it is the ultimate indulgence in self-care. When I did Indonesia in 2022, that was when I first was introduced to like the big treatments, where the Balinese massage, they massage your stomach. One of the massages, oh yeah, the last one I had, which was at the Korean, they did the whole body, like they massage your boobs and your stomach and everything. I was like, what? Crazy. Oh yeah, I forgot there was another story. It'll come to me as I look at these questions. So when I stayed at the JW in Bangkok the first time, so here's a funny story. So the woman at the counter, right? So I'm like, oh, I'm checking in. She's like, oh, you're only here for one night because I decided to extend my time in Bangkok. And I was like, oh, I didn't buy a ticket for my next trip, so I can stay an extra night. So we did what did we do at that point? We did the Hidden Bangkok tour. So she said, do you want to stay on the quiet side or sky? I think she said sky view, something like that. So I was like, oh, that sounds pretty cool. I'm like, I don't really have a preference, like whatever. So when I go to Rashida's room, she had a different view. And I'm like, oh, your view's different. It's like, what do you have? Asking me. And I said, oh, I said, I didn't really pay attention because when I checked in, just had enough time to check in and then we were going on a tour. I said, did see something that said Nana's. And she was like, Nana's playground? I was like, I don't know. It said Nana's, right? And then she pulls it up. She's like, you didn't see this sign? Which I didn't because it says Nana's Hotel. It was daytime. And everything else, because it was daytime, I couldn't see because the lady at the counter said, oh, I'll put, sky side I think you'll like because I really like the lights at night. It's pretty. So I'm like, oh, pretty nights, right? I'm thinking night view. Baby, Nana's is the world's largest adult playground. So my room, anybody on that side of the JW, face the red light district. And I got back to my room. I think it was maybe like 1 a.m. Maybe it was close to 2. Because my daughter was sick. And so I was trying to stay up to figure out, she was going to the student services, health services. So I was trying to, stay awake while that was working out, which was, I had to because it was whole time outside. It was scores of men in a line going into this place. I'm like, and now it's lit up, right? So now I can read all the signs. I still couldn't see where it says Nana's Adult Playground because of the way my hotel faced. I could only see like Nana's, and then they had the silhouette of a woman. And I was like, what? So of course, I had to take my phone out because I was like, what the hell is going on? Till 2:30 in the morning. And it was loud. And so the only thing that saved JW from like a huge complaint was the fact that I had already needed to be up, with my child. But when I came back, I was like, put me on the quiet side. Because I'm like, what is this concierge lady selling? Like, is that your side hustle? You going in there at night? Like, what is going on? Why'd you set me up? Why'd you set me up? Yes, it was wild. And so yes, there was a whole underground. Well, I don't even know if it was underground. I think it's a known thing. I was just late to the party to clearly know about it. Nichelle, you're moving. Yes, I love Thailand. Like, I'm not even gonna bury the lead. Like, it is definitely high up on the list because uh, Thailand made country 19 and Vietnam made country 20 for me. So I was really excited and I love the region. I love Southeast Asia. Some of the Exodus Summit ladies had, some were coming from the States, some were coming from trips in other countries. Some had come, I think, not too long ago from Kenya. Some ladies were bopping around for long periods of time in Kuala Lumpur, Singapore, Indonesia. It was really great. So I am excited for you. The rentals in Bangkok, oh my gosh, like fully furnished place for $300-400. Really, really, really beautiful. Yes, I saw that one. I think I answered that. Hey, Greta. Hey, hey, hey. Yes, I got beat. I was like, I'm paying this woman to beat me. Um, yes. After the terror, I did do 2 more Thai massages. But then after that, I did like the gentle ones, the gentle ones. No, I didn't fall asleep. There was one, I think it was the second one I had at that spa that I did find myself snoring. Like I nodded off for a second. But other than that, I didn't fall asleep. Uh, yeah, I did. I worked out in Vietnam. I hit the gym, but I didn't go to the gym in Thailand. Is my hotel resort didn't have, or my hotel didn't have a gym, or at least I didn't ask. But yeah, and the other one, when I got to the JW, I was just focused on self care. I actually even skipped. I was going to do a dinner cruise, but I was like, I don't want to overwhelm myself. I just want to, get relaxed and then get ready for the 14/15 hours to get back to Portugal. Yes, I know. I was good. So the things that I did really well was I packed pretty light because when you're traveling in a region, so like remember my main ticket was on Emirates. So I knew what my weight limit was and I knew I was going to be buying some clothes along the way. But then once I was in the region, I didn't have tickets for Vietnam. I had my visa because you have to have a visa and there's a whole process. Some people get denied when they do it because they need to do like the whole biometrics, the picture has to match, that whole thing. And since I had cut my hair and it didn't look like my passport, I was like, well, let me just do all that stuff. So I had my visa. I did not have any plane tickets for that. I was kind of winging it. So when you go on other carriers, these are like discount carriers and they have strict guidelines. So I did wind up buying, excuse me, from Muji, like a collapsible duffel bag, which saved me. So I was able to not have a bunch of additional charges for the bags. Mm. So my weight limit was 15 kilograms, whereas my Emirates flight was 20 something. And so I had to redistribute, the weight. The other thing that you have to keep in mind when you're traveling within regions, um, is that you have to make sure your name matches, which I almost got in trouble for. Only one of them spoke to me about it, but I didn't put my full name because it had a field for first and last name. And remember, like all these sites are in their language. So I'm using, Google to, convert it into English. And so I'm seeing like first name and surname. I didn't have my middle name on there, which is on my passport. And she was like, next time we gonna get you. Luckily, they didn't, because that was the only flight that I was like, oh, because they'll make you pay a fee for that. Um, I wasn't in the mood for that. Oh, and I remember there was one, I think it was in Chiang Mai. Yes, Chiang Mai. That was a whole headache and a half leaving the airport to go to Bangkok to then fly to Vietnam, to Ho Chi Minh City. It was forever. I was in that line for over an hour just to drop off my bag. And then, oh yeah, that was a shit show. So an hour, because it was a domestic flight, right? Because I'm flying from Chiang Mai back to Bangkok. I'm still in Thailand. So I got there like 2.5 hours early. An hour of that was just in line to drop off my bag. So then when I finally get to the counter, I kind of look to my left and I see this other line and I'm like, okay, she's not taking anybody's bag. I have to now go into the next line to give somebody else my bag. I'm like, the conveyor belt is here. No, no, no. So now I got to get another line that's 20 minutes. And then that person is looking at the scan, the receipt of your bag to make sure that the number they gave you matches the bag that's in your hand. There's only 3 feet that separated me from the other lady and you. What am I going to do with this bag, lady? So she's checking everybody's, you get that thing you put in your pocket. Some people don't know where they put it that fast, like this whole thing. So by the time that is done and I get upstairs, they're like, oh, you have to go. There's a sign that says international and a sign that says domestic. The board says my flight is domestic. The international part was supposed to happen at Bangkok, not in Chiang Mai. So I'm like, I can't go international because then I have to go through passport control. Like I've already been stamped. So they're like, nope, go international. So I go all the way over there. Now we're in like the 11th hour because it's like 30 minutes before my flight, 45 minutes at this point. And so I have to go through passport control. So now I got to wait in this line and go through security, passport control. And then now we're in like boarding time zone. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm gonna miss this flight because this I did not know. I did not know. And so once they stamped me, or they stamped me, I was like, oh, I'm thinking now I just gotta go to the gate. Where's the gate? Back where I started in domestic. I'm like, the sign should say international travelers, right? Not international flights, because it wasn't an international flight. I'm an international traveler. So literally, I got on the jetway, the jet bridge, 5 minutes before my flight. I was like, oh my gosh. So, note to self, note to y'all, flying through Chiang Mai, allow extra time. Like, be there like 3 something hours early because that was just crazy. I don't, no, no, no. That was my only thing. But things I would have done, things that I thought I would do that I didn't do. I thought I was going to read more. I read a little bit. I didn't read as much. I did practice my Portuguese every day. I was happy about that. I thought I was going to journal. I didn't journal at all. But I did hold my boundaries. I said I was on vacation. I did not. People were sending, oh, so is in Portugal. That's great. I'm not here, or anything else. People were really good about respecting my boundaries. Sometimes I had to reinforce them, but look, it's all about me. It was a me show. So I had no qualms about that. What I regretted not taking a picture of the toilet because I was like, that's the toilet my mama needs. I was like, that thing is warm. I loved it. Um, okay. Wow. They drive on the moped on the sidewalk. Wow. Yeah. 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 Um, oh, and the little kids, right? So when they're on the mopeds, because those cities they do a lot of mopeds. So in Vietnam in particular, I didn't see it so much in Thailand, but it would be like one rider. One time, I wish I had gotten a picture, but I put my phone in my bag and I was going to the airport, and this guy's on a moped, and then behind him is a baby, like a baby, maybe like 6 months to a year, in like this kind of like cagey thing, and then a older child, still like elementary school age, behind him. But in the front is a dog, and the dog's got its paws, and I was like, "What?" It was wild. I was like, oh my gosh, I seen little old ladies with, carpets and stuff. It was wild. Um, yeah, I I loved it. I loved it. It was organized chaos. Um, yes, I got clothes made. I don't know. I couldn't see myself living in Bangkok. Uh-uh. It's the air pollution is too much for me. But I would visit a lot, but I wouldn't live there. Chiang Mai was more my vibe for sure. I mean, granted, in the ancient city is more of a tourist zone. They have a lot of temples. They have, a lot of the boutique hotels. But the vibe, I could walk freely. I bought these earrings there. Um, they say it's supposed to, uh, what is it? It's supposed to improve vaginal health and all this other stuff. Yeah, it's supposed to be a good detox. Yeah, yeah. Oh, I tried to do. Oh no, we did do the train. We did the train. But the train was interesting in that there's two lines, but they don't connect. Meaning you can't, like, you have to get a pass for I think it was green and blue. So if you were going to connect to the blue line, you could, from the green line, vice versa, but you needed to have another ticket to ride that line. They're not like, oh, I buy one train ticket and I can do that. And it's not very long. It's like 6 or 8 stops. It doesn't even do the majority of the city. So um, I would do a motorbike again for short distances, because we knew where we were at. We were at this breakfast story. Shout out to breakfast story. Um, and from there to the spa, it was only 10 minutes. So I would do it again for short distances because I was good. I didn't like hold on to my driver for dear life. Like Jasmine showed me where to put my hands. Yes, air purifier for in the home and outside wearing a mask. You definitely need a mask. Um, mhm. It's hella affordable. Oh, should talk about this medical tourism. So, medical tourism is huge in Thailand and in Vietnam. So, some people took the opportunity to partake in medical tourism. So they had these wellness centers that you can get a comprehensive screening. And I think I still have it on my phone. The menu, for 500, roughly about 500 USD, you can get screened for cancer, mammographies, the whole bit, like everything from the rooter to the tutor. All your blood work, cholesterol, like everything, comprehensive, your eyes, your teeth, everything, for like five, maybe 600 USD. And so for Americans, like that's a steal, right? Because you're getting x-rays done, ultrasounds, the whole bit, right? And plus they're screening for HIV, like I said, cancer, all of these things that are specialized tests that you would have to go back and forth to a doctor multiple times or get permission from your insurer to do that. And it would cost way more. And so some of the ladies took part in that. Some got dental work done. Um, and that was really affordable. I did get some X-rays done because I was like, for just the giggles, because I wanted to get an opinion on an issue I was having, and that was $7 for a full X-ray. Yeah. So yes, cost of living is very affordable. Yeah, February was a great month. Absolutely. I'm considering going back. Hey, Yakota's in the house. Um, I didn't do the Vietnamese massage. Some of the ladies did. They got foot massages for $5 for I think a half an hour, or $5 for an hour. Yeah, the the Thai massage is something. It's Fight Club. Yes, Nanas. I was like, they called my grandma Nana when she was alive. I'm like, oh, so when I saw the word, I was like, oh, so what I saw from my hotel was Nana also has a hotel. So that was where it's at Nana's hotel, but that was during the day. Baby, at night it's a whole different ball game. And then there's other parts of the region that has all kinds of special things happening. Let's put it that way. Pinky said, I've had two master massage therapists, including stomach and breast massage in their service. Yes. Yeah, they did that. I was like, what? I've had my stomach massage in Indonesia, but the breast massage, I was like, oh, okay, this is new. This is new. I loved the people, the culture, being surrounded by all those wonderful Buddhas, the flowers. You see in the ceremony. Um, yeah, always being greeted with like a bow, and the language. If I moved there, I definitely would want to take classes, because while I only picked up two words, I do love the language. It's very melodic, like it's very sing-songy, and so I loved like hearing them speak. It was just very calming. I really, really enjoyed it. So I may end up going back before the year's out. We'll see. But it was great. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. And my crew here in Lisbon, they were like, girl, when you coming back? I was like, no, not till March, y'all. Wow. Bumrungrad, one of the best hospitals in the world, is in Bangkok. Wow, I believe it. I believe it. Yeah, I've heard healthcare is amazing there. And right across, actually, from the JW, they had one of those big wellness centers. And like I said, they had like the menu of prices, but I saw them throughout the city. And so if you have been needing, dental work, or you want to get some tests done, it's way more affordable for you to book a flight, turn it into a vacation, right? Because like I said, meals were inexpensive, transportation was inexpensive. Most places it would be $2 to $4 to bop around. My taxi to the airport in Da Nang, to and from, was like 10 or 11, and this was 45 minutes to an hour ride. So definitely, yeah, that's a different Nana. It wasn't an old lady, no. That Nana was turning tricks. And it was interesting. So one of the ladies told me after that first night that I wound up on the Nana side that I think the next, because I was on a plane the next day, that I think Nana's might have gotten raided. It was like, Lord, I don't doubt it. Cause the way the men was going in there, they was looking for their happy endings. What? Bumrungrad has a full well woman exam for women over 40. Yes. Oh, wow. Yeah, they have these packages. I really learned a lot. And, for me, because I live in Portugal and healthcare is so affordable, I didn't need to partake in, the wellness treatments, but certainly I thought about it because one of the ones I was tempted to try, but I didn't. I didn't have enough time actually. Was they have the IVs, so you can do an IV. I saw that sign. They were like, "Oh, IV to, hydrate your body." To sharpen your brain and your mental acuity, like all kinds of stuff. I'm like, Southeast Asia is great for putting yourself back together, like getting restorative care, getting that preventive care, because wellness is integrated into the culture. And so that's what I love about it. And that's why I'm really glad that I was able to um, do that. And because it was so much fun being with the Exodus Summit crew, because it wound up being 80 women in total that descended on Hoi An. So every time we would go into a store, they'd be like, "Oh, your friend was here like a few minutes ago," because they were like, "Wait, where all these black ladies come from?" We took over. Um, Oh yes, another thing in Hoi An that I did, and for anybody who travels to Hoi An, they have the Hoi An Memories show, and so that was really spectacular. It's a 1 hour, well-produced production, and they said it's like the Reuters called it the best production in the world. I took a snapshot of that, but in any event, it tells the 400-year history of Hoi An from the queen before she became the queen, all the way to when because of where Hoi An is in the center of commerce, and how that became like the destination for all of these tailors and shipping and exchanging goods and services with different countries. So that was really, really well produced. So if you're in that area, definitely check out Hoi An Memories because it was wonderful. Only thing I think I would have done differently with that is we didn't realize that the memories show, we didn't really understand that they had the pre-show, what they called the pre-show, but it's really almost like an amusement park, and so they have restaurants and just different things going on before the actual evening show. So because right after the evening show, that's pretty much it. They close they close up shop. I would have gotten there a little earlier to just gotten a chance to enjoy some of the other amenities that they had. Um, Lots of people go all over the world to Bumrungrad for their medical care, surgeries, physical therapies, various treatments. Yes, that's the thing. Like medical tourism is a huge, huge industry outside of the US, of course, right? But because these other countries know that the US healthcare is a shit show, like they turn into really, like Uber care, right? In the sense that you have a hotel, you may have a nurse with you while you recuperate from whatever procedure. They really do in-depth diagnostics, and I definitely saw some people who took advantage of that, and wonderful transformations and top of the line service, and very quick and very affordable. So definitely for anybody who's contemplating going to the region and you may want to get some stuff done, do it while you're there. Do it while you're there. Get your healthcare on. Yes. I'm telling you. Like I said, next time I go, I'm gonna try the IV because I know a few people that live in Bali. They regularly get IV treatments. They have a person come to where they live, and they'll be doing their digital nomading, and be hooked up to an IV, and that's just wellness. That's just part of life, and it definitely allowed me to see how we're set up in the Western world to be, these productivity horses and burn out, built to burn out. Whereas the exact opposite on the other side of the world, these people work and they hustle. They ain't afraid to work. So I was like, how'd you do like a whole ass outfit in 12 hours? Like, where are the other people who are doing this? But it's great to know that, in that working mindset, that they also, surround themselves by, a culture that, regularly saw signs everywhere. And I actually had some more pictures, you know, men getting suits done. There were all these young Black men that came in. They were a bunch of friends because we struck up a conversation. And they said, "Oh, no, this is our annual guys trip. We come and get our suits done." I'm like, "What?" So I was introduced to a whole different lifestyle. So that was my month. All right. I think that was it. I think I got through all the questions because everything else I answered as we were going along. I'm glad to be back. I'm just looking to see if there was any other questions that I missed. I'm glad to be back. Like I said, have some new episodes that will be coming. We're going to be on a hiatus for probably at least a month to give me time, maybe two, because I also have the Nomad Noir ladies coming. But we'll be back with those final episodes of season 7. And I probably will drop an episode. I might drop an episode on Monday. We'll see. We'll see. All right. I'm just doing a last check to see. I think I got through all of them. All right. So it is time to bounce. Thank you for rocking with me tonight. I'm glad to be back. I'll be back. I saw that. I saw that. Wink, wink. Yes, she's fine. She wound up having the flu. But yes, she is okay. Thank you for asking. Catrice. Oh, hey, Rumi. It was great meeting you too. And that invitation to come on here is still there. Rumi. Yes, we spent some wonderful time. I met Catrice on our trip and we had a time. We had a wonderful time. Yes, listen to Susan. Click like on the way out. BJ, I might have missed your answer. Yes, February is a great month to travel to Thailand and Vietnam because it wasn't too hot. Vietnam was, well, at least in Hoi An. Hoi An was in the 70s. It did have a lot of rain. But Bangkok and Chiang Mai were in the 90s, but not a hot 90s. I was expecting like really, really hot 90. I don't know if it was the air pollution that prevented it from feeling as hot as it was, but I didn't feel like I know what 90 feels like here. And it was a different 90, and maybe it was humidity. I'm not sure. Maybe it was air pollution. Maybe it was a combination of the two. But I think it's a good time of year to go. And if you go earlier, then they have the Lantern Festival, which I believe aligns with the moon. That is one I would love to go back for. I didn't get to do the lantern stuff because, like I said, once I started down the path of getting clothes made, it's like you literally need to see it all the way through. and give feedback to the tailor, make sure, if things are being communicated appropriately, all that stuff. So, um, but yeah. Yes, come to the meetup October 24th, 2025 in Lisbon. There may be more that I add to this because we're only in March. So I've got some time to plan, kind of thinking of some other things that I might want to add to that because remember, Blacks at Global is also 5 this year. And so I want to commemorate that as well. But yeah, thanks for rocking with me. I'm glad to be back. I will be back next Thursday. I don't have any major travel plan till Mayish. Yes, Mayish. And then my birthday's in June. And so I'm already working on my next escape. So I will see you next week. Same bat time, same bat channel. Till then, ciao, ciao. And I'll see you at accountability group on Saturday. All right. Yeah.